I'll give you a countdown.
Right.
287.
You didn't even commit.
288.
Wait, you're
289.
What up, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. You're listening to the TNC podcast with Ryan and Eli. What up, Ryan? How you doing today?
I'm all right, man. It's very, very busy.
All right.
Very busy.
Yeah. Gotta match my energy, man.
Hey.
It's Okay, no. Calm down. Chill out there, boy.
Oh man, it's just running all over the place. I'm about to get a new car, which is nice.
Very nice.
I've needed one for a long time.
Do you have like the details finalized for that?
So my dad's gonna co-sign with me, in
terms of like when you'll get it, or I guess like once he co-signs.
Once he co-signs, we'll know the date. But like when I saw it last time, it was like, I don't know, like within like a week or something like that. It was pretty convenient. Carvana's so far been pretty good.
Yeah, if I can't get one of the certified pre-owned that I'm looking for, I'm gonna go to Carvana, because I was actually just talking to a friend of mine the other day about Carvana, and they were like, oh yeah, a bunch of my friends use Carvana. So
yeah, and you can trade in your car. Like I wouldn't have a down payment because I'm trading in my car that I have now.
That's good. That's really good.
So it sucks to get another like monthly payment, open another line of credit, but like I need it, and hopefully this will last me a long time. I'll have a car with 100,000 less miles than what I have now, so that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
And to be fair, like
I feel that
my dad was like, "Oh, the car that I sold you was only supposed to like last you a year, and it's been 3 years."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Actually, same thing with mine. We bought the Avenger to last me the summer.
Oh.
So really only to last me like 4 months.
How long has it been?
2.5 years.
That's a lot of value, bro.
So, yeah. So I mean, it's been pretty decent. Well, other than all the problems with it, but
yeah, I feel
it's I've been able to go from point A to point B, and that's all that I paid for.
And that's all I ever really want out of a car. I'm never like, oh, I want this like super fast fucking car, this like Bugatti. I want to go 108 down fucking residential area and hit a bunch of children. Like no, like
I like cars, but I just know I'm never going to be able to afford something like that, so I just keep those in my dreams. I just, I keep that on my TikTok.
You know what my dream car is? It's a yellow Mini Cooper. That's my dream car. People might think it's lame. It's like, whatever, dude. Like, I like the look of it.
No, I like the Mini Coopers.
And it'll get me from point A to point B. That's all I ever care about. Like, as long as it's, like my car struggles on hills, so it's like...
Yeah. Other than it's owned by BMW. So.
Whatever,
Yeah. You'll be dealing with the same... Yeah, I know. You'll be dealing with the same problems with a Mini Cooper than you do with a BMW i8 or whatever the fuck. Yeah. Like, I don't even really... Like, I wouldn't say I follow, like, car updates, but, like, I like watching people, like, show off cars and, like, do, like, a tour of a brand new, 2024 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting to see what companies are doing with technology and how much money they're actually putting into their cars, because a lot of these new cars are like the interior, it's just like straight up cheap plastic. Like you can just punch your dashboard and it'll just like crack in half. I've seen people do that with a Lamborghini before.
Yeah,
they just pull a little bit on the radio and then it just pops out entirely. And I'm like,
yeah, they cut corners.
And y'all paid how much for that? Fuck out of here. Like if I'm paying above $100,000 for a car, it better be coated. It better be made of gold.
Yeah, it better be top of the line.
I better get paid for driving it. That's my dream. Get paid for driving the car. Like I grew up loving driving. Like I would go on drives in my free time because one, I was, 15, 16. I had just gotten my license. I had never driven a car, for long periods of time. So I was like, what? Why the fuck not? Let me go explore the city. But with this car that I have now, it's not really an option.
Same, dude. Like, I can't even like live my life. Like, I can't go to places I want to go.
That's what it is for me, though. I'm glad you brought up you just can't do the things that you want to do.
Like you have like freedom with the car, but I don't really. And that's the kind of the story of my life. That's kind of like what's been going on. It's the main thing, and work's been like, work.
Yeah. Right now, I'm planning for January, hopefully, because that's when my insurance gets pushed over off to me. Also, yo, I just learned this today. We'll return to this, but Uptown Funk by Pharrell Williams came out in 2014.
Yeah, it's almost a decade old.
It's disgusting. It really is. It's sad. Like if you were to ask me prior to knowing that, I'd be like, oh, like 6 or 7 years. Not fucking a decade. It's crazy.
It is.
That's fucking 14.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I want to be bullshit. I want to be 14 again. I want to be young again. I want to be full of life, so I can have it sucked out of me again.
I just want to not have bills. That would be my.
That'd be so
like
nice.
Just not have to pay to survive in this world. But
I would love to not be in survival mode.
Here we are
all the time.
So you don't like it?
No, I'm just an NPC in everyone else's lives apparently. So. I don't deserve to have like opinion or lie or anything like that. Like people were just so entitled, like, and the people that like bitch all the time about these little things, they don't realize how good they have it. They really don't.
Oh yeah,
all these first world problems is so insane. Or they like try to cancel Mr. Beast for building wells in Africa. It's like, what the fuck? Are you serious? You're like so privileged to be able to do that. To be able to bitch on Twitter and be like,
It's like this man is using the money that he makes off of videos to help people in the world, and then you're like, God, he's just like,
because they're insecure,
making up any excuse to blame him for doing what he's doing.
No, they're just insecure about how they use their money, and then also about him having the money to do that. They're insecure about their income and how they use their income. And it's like, oh wait, you just bought this new house? Well, Mr. Beast just built 100 wells in Africa. That's how they're comparing themselves. At least that's how I see it. Because it's like, I don't see any other way you could be upset.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a comparison game. It is. And, I didn't think about this until now, but like, really think about the difference of the mindsets of, let's say, people below the age of 20 and people above the age of 60. In terms of like that main character syndrome.
That's not a lot. Not a lot. I think when it comes like older people, I think they've had the most opportunity to grow out of that compared to young people.
And they're mad because they haven't.
They're not mad because they haven't. It's just they're mad in general because they've had probably a lot more things happen in their life and then not know how to deal with them.
Yeah.
Because these people will lash out at everyone else because they don't know how to process their emotions properly. They have no other outlet for their emotions. So the only way they can express themselves is to fucking yell at some waiter in a restaurant for getting their food wrong. I watched a video, I think from Swash, I told you this, where this girl used to work at Starbucks and the same lady would come in every day and, or go through the drive-thru or whatever, I forget, but they'd be like, "Oh, I want this drink like this, very specific, right?" And then
Mm-hmm.
they hand her the drink. She tastes it and like, "Oh my goodness, remake this. It's so awful." So all they would do is go in the back and then
Oh, change the
shake it up
yep.
a little bit and hand it back to her and be like, "I made you a new one." She's like, "Oh, this one's perfect." It's like
and
it's the same
and
drink.
it's the same fucking drink.
Like they only just
Uh,
want to make people's lives harder because, they're bitter inside and.
yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that point, but I was more so saying like in terms of the value of money that like the old people versus the young people.
Oh, I
Uh,
thought you meant in terms of
whole
main character syndrome, 'cause that's what we
yeah,
wrote.
no,
But
no,
like
that's
the value of money is also like,
because it's like these old people are like they're mad at other people for using their money in ways that they themselves either monetarily can't or they've had the opportunity to and they haven't because they've chose to spend their money on something else.
I'm sure they're
Whereas
way more
these
bitter about that.
100%, 100%. And then on the contrary, you look at the new generation, these people under 20 who let's say they've grown up in a really nice household where they don't really have to worry about a lot, and then they go to college or they move out of the house, and now they have no idea what money is.
They have no idea the value of
They,
money. They just
they
spend and they're like, "How do I have no money left?" What?
exactly, and then they're like, well, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that?
There's like no like accountability. There's no sense of responsibility. They have no
I,
sense of the value of things. Like we grew up poor, so I knew the value of money pretty well growing up. Even though like, I survived off of like the cheapest fast food ever because my, household did not want to cook anything. But it was like,
yeah,
oh, we don't have money. We don't ever have money.
yeah,
And so it's like I get some money. I'm like, okay, cool. I have to put this towards something like important and big.
yeah. See, like like, I mean, you know me. I grew up in a nice household. I didn't have to worry about a lot, but the moment I started driving, I started working. Actually, I started working before I even had my temp license.
Damn.
So yeah, so like I was driving or I was working like the moment I turned 15 and a half, and I worked all the way through high school at that same job.
Yeah.
And I do like work like it worked essentially took up all of my free time other than high school, which I was fine with because it enabled me to pay my college in full
Yeah.
as
I
a
think you
as
understood the concept of like being grateful for the things you have and then
and
using
for the
that opportunity to like further your life rather
yeah
than being in the stagnant place because it's like, well, I grew up and I had everything, so I don't have everything now. You understood
yeah
it's like, okay, this is a privilege and I'm lucky to have this, so I'm going to make the most out of my situation in my life. And that's how you're able to pay for college and have no debt. That's
yeah
really responsible of you because you understood what you had.
yeah yeah. So I've known I've known a lot of people who have been spoiled as children and even as adults, and like I even know people now who don't like they're my age and they still don't have a job because their parents still just pay for everything.
Still
But
mommy's boy or daddy's boy.
exactly. And I knew this I knew this one person in college. Um and they like from the point that I had met them, they had never had a job other than what they called nannying slash babysitting. That was the only job that they had to show for. So then they started an internship like later on in their college career, and that was the first job that they had. That was the first time they were making their own money to support themselves before that, they like if they needed grocery money or if they like went out and like, bought a PC or something, they would just text their dad and be like, "Hey, can you send over this?" And it'd be in minutes, just the money was transferred over.
So insane.
And like there was one time, I really stopped being friends with them after this point, but they were doing their internship and I was talking to them about it, and they had completely forgotten that like they had been working there for like a month and a half, I think, maybe even 2 months. And they literally told me, "Oh, I totally forgot I'm getting paid for this."
No concept of money.
No,
like no struggle at all.
Nothing.
No struggle.
And I'm sitting over there like, I've busted my ass working for how many years now, and you don't even realize you're getting paid for the job that you're doing because you've just always had money in your account.
It's like, oh, I just need to text my dad and he'll give me the money. Why didn't I think of that?
And then they still continued to do that. They still continued to get money from their parents and not even like use their own.
Like, they don't know how unbelievably lucky they are to have that privilege. And because I never had nothing like that, like
exactly. Nor did I. And like I got so angry at them because I'm like, you have no concept of what 99% of the people around you go through.
Yeah.
You have no concept of how important money is to the people around you. You just think it falls off the trees, apparently.
Yeah.
Or
just you always have it. It's always there for you.
Exactly. And it's it's like they're those type of people who have no empathy for others. They think they're really the only person in their little life story. Again, that because
main character syndrome. Like, what were the other things that we put in there?
No empathy for others because their egos and traumas don't allow for outside thinking.
The ego, yes, the ego. To like not even worry about the money because it's just always there for me. I just always somehow have money. Like the human ego is my least favorite thing. I know about it.
I know
because I've had it. And I still, in some ways, have it as well.
Yeah.
Like,
no, so do I.
We're always working through that. But the people that don't actively try and work through that ego and those flaws, it's like, it just upsets me. Because it's like, as a human being, you have this consciousness. And as an adult, I think you have this responsibility to make yourself the best version of yourself. These people that stay stagnant, that's why, like, I say the older people haven't grown up mentally because they haven't worked through anything. They're just always in this one place in their life, stagnant. It doesn't matter how much money you're earning, but how have you developed as a person? Who are you?
Yeah. No, that's really facts though.
Because like even when I have my differences with family members, they do something for me. I say thank you very much for doing that for me. I always am grateful for the things
you're always like thinking about the time that they're taking out of their day to help you and to do this or that.
Even if I even if I outright hate them, I still thank them. You have to be grateful for these things because these people, no one has to do anything for you. The world will easily forget about you and leave you behind.
Exactly.
So you have to treat these relationships and these people in your life with respect and
at least try to learn, like in my experience, like at least try to learn what they're going through. Even if you can't relate, at least try to understand the struggles that they're experiencing on an everyday basis. Like, don't just sit there and be like, oh, well, I've never, like have your friend just be like, oh, I'm broke. And then them just be like, oh, I've never been broke. It's like, that doesn't help anyone in this situation. You're just stating a fact.
Or those people that have no concept of what broke actually is. Because I had this friend who, they're working, but they still live with their parents. So, they don't have to pay rent. They don't have to do anything. And
No
I remember
bills.
I'm paying my bills, I'm paying my rent, so I'm broke as fuck. And they were
Yeah.
complaining, "Oh yeah, I'm broke too," And I'm like, "Did you just put $10,000 towards your student loans out of your own money that you made from this job? Didn't you buy a bunch of Christmas presents for everyone? Like, you're talking about being broke. Like, don't talk to me, the person busting his ass and struggling every single fucking day about
Just to
being
make it
broke."
through, and then
And then
fuck
and then
off,
you're like,
man.
"Oh, I'm broke," even though I just spent $10,000 on my student loans, just so because I didn't want the interest rates to go up on me. I didn't want to pay that interest over time, so I just put $10,000 towards it.
You're not fucking broke.
You're not fucking broke. Like, well now,
Broke.
well now I am. It's like, what do you mean? If you have the choice to do that, then you're not broke. Simple as that. If that's a choice, if that's an
It,
option for you, ever, you're not broke.
if you can throw that amount of money easily, just be like, well, I just want to pay off, a little bit of it right now. I'll just put 10 grand aside. You're like, if you have that option, you never worry about bills, you never worry about rent, and it makes sense because you said they weren't even
There's no
they weren't
responsibility. They were
no responsibilities,
no
no bills,
responsibility.
no.
They didn't even have like a
They
license or
probably
anything.
they probably didn't even pay for food. Their parents probably just got groceries all the time, so they just ate at home.
Yeah,
Which, like, I don't mean to say this in like a negative connotation where, like, if you have the opportunity to live with your parents, like, post graduation, or after a period of time, if you have that opportunity, that's great.
that's
You can
great.
save
Yeah,
money by doing that.
absolutely happy for you. Just be aware of what's going on around you. Have some awareness,
Yes.
some
Yes.
self-reflection on like, hey, I should really be grateful for this thing. And maybe I shouldn't complain to the people that are dealing with these issues about, my issues like that.
E-
Like, you can complain
Ex-
about your problems, but don't try to like compare. It's like, oh, I'm broke, and it's like you have no idea what that means.
yeah. You don't even know what that word means.
Like, you can't relate to me in that way. Like, you can talk about like, oh, I got some family drama. It's like, okay, that's fine. You can have all these
Yeah.
things and still have like problems. That's okay. We can talk about
Yeah.
that. But like, realize your privilege. Be grateful for that. And don't complain about. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, I gotta live with my parents and not pay rent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Do you
like, what?
think this is a question for you, but do you think that uh do you think a lot of these people's, like, egos and, like, lack of self-awareness is because of themselves, or is it because of bad parenting?
Oh, 100% bad parenting. I've talked to you about this because I've dealt with this myself.
Yeah.
Neglectful parents are on the rise, especially with our generation and generations below us. That's why you see
Yeah.
so much of this like cognitive dissonance. The internet is raising our kids basically. Like, if I had to name like father figures in my life, PewDiePie would be one of them. I watched him
Real
from 2013 to now. 10 years
Yeah.
of my life. I had no idea about social skills. I didn't have like a good sense of humor because I just had no interaction with my parents. And
Yeah.
so it was like, okay, I need to get socialized somehow. Public schools were a blessing because I got socialized really quick
Yeah.
and I had to learn to adapt. But then also, like, I developed a sense of humor from watching all these creators and absorbing this content and all these good examples that people set online, like Mr. Beast is doing now with kids today.
Mhm.
I'm very
Yeah.
grateful for figures like him because parents aren't raising their kids. Like, you see the memes all the time. It's like, oh, they stuck an iPad in front of them and just let them go to town. It's like,
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
they're doing. That's what my brother
Yeah.
does. He just has an iPad. I saw him just clicking away. I was like, damn, bro, you're clicking really fast.
Yeah.
you know, like, it's so insane because, again, like,
It's
you shouldn't have kids if you're not going to pay attention to them, if you're not going to try and raise them. You got to
yeah.
love them with
It
everything, bro.
if your solution to, like, this is coming from two guys who don't have kids, and very very might well never have kids, but
Bro, I could raise my kids better than my mom did.
oh no, I could raise kids a lot better than I've seen, but in today's economy, I don't think it's gonna be viable.
Yeah, that's true.
But like if you're gonna have a kid, and then your solution to any time they're upset or bored is just to stick a screen in front of them, what is that teaching them? It's teaching them that they can escape any situation by pulling out their phone or pulling out their iPad, or doing like just like essentially walking away from the situation.
Yeah.
So then when they get older, when conflict arises, they don't know what to do other than disassociate and distract themselves with something else.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. Like you remember, like I had to learn a lot when my struggles are actually happening. It's like, okay, like how do I deal with this? I ran away for so long,
Yeah.
just doing all these different things, absorbing content. I still watch a lot of stuff, but now I keep up with my responsibilities better, and it's a hard learning curve. And I wish my parents were there to teach me all these things. The only way I turned out okay is because of my grandparents. They
Yeah.
they really
They
instilled
were
some
the
like
soul saviors there, yeah.
yeah, they instilled some morals in me. They're the only ones who have like taken me like on a vacation, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like they wanted me to like at least enjoy my life a little bit, you know. Let me be a kid a
God
little
bless them.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they taught me morals, they taught me how to be a good person. And I always say like if I grow up to be like half the man my grandpa was, I'll be happy. Because
Mm-hmm.
he always does the right thing.
Yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
these bad parents, man. I wish they wouldn't have kids. You don't want
I
the kids, so why do you even have them? There are a
exactly.
lot of
And
people
like,
who want kids and can't have kids.
and then there's all of these kids being raised like that,
Yeah,
you know?
if I'm gonna have a kid, I'm gonna be so fucking prepared for them. Like
Oh, me
I'm
too.
going to go to classes about parenting. I'm gonna do I'm gonna make sure I'm financially stable. I'm gonna make sure I have money saved up so I can just spend it all on them and the baby comes, diapers, everything, bro. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna half-ass that job. You
Yeah.
can't do that's someone's
No.
life.
Yeah, at my old job, I had this coworker. She was 19, and she had a kid. She still lived with her mom, but I asked her one day, like, just like I asked her a question about her kid, and she essentially told me that, oh well, like when are you gonna have a kid? And I was like, once I'm financially stable. And she goes, you'll learn how, or you'll become financially stable after you have a kid. And I'm like, uh in what, 18 years, once I'm done paying for everything for them? Like
Like
once, like,
no, if I
and
have a
and
kid,
her
my kid
and her
deserves the best. Kids deserve the
exactly.
best.
And like her parents took care of her kid because she and her boyfriend worked at the same restaurant.
Well, that's why she's
So,
financially stable because her parents are doing everything for her.
because she doesn't have to worry about the actual. I mean, I don't know what it was behind the scenes, but like for her to think that it would be viable to just have a kid now and then we can just figure everything out afterwards. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm not going to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be broke and miserable for 18 plus years
Then the kid
because I
suffers
had a
too.
kid because I had a kid when I wasn't financially stable. So then I'm always playing the catch up game.
Yeah, and it affects
And
the kid
I'm
too.
never
It affects their life.
exactly. Exactly, because like you're not like in a even a headspace to really
So
you're
like
not in a headspace to
to have that responsibility. I mean, like
yeah.
I see so many of these parents who just never have grown up here, who've never
Mhm.
dealt with their shit. So imagine what you're teaching your kid. Y'all be blessed if your kid just is smarter than you, and then they
Yeah.
realize these things. That's what I had to do. Like my mother never dealt with anything. Run from conflict. I remember I had to tell her because I had a rehearsal for extracurricular activities, and she didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to drive me. She didn't have to do anything. I got my friends to pick me up. Like it was so easy for
Yeah.
her. And then I'm about to leave, and she's about to head off to work. I'm like, what about my brother? What, you're gonna leave him here alone? It's like, oh no, you need to watch him. I was like, I'm about to leave for my rehearsal. You're the parent. You need to figure it out. I was like, no, you're staying here. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And the fact that you like just
What
throw
the
this on
hell?
me, like you're such a bad mother. I told her like you're a terrible mother to be able to not to do this stuff. Like, why can't you just
Not only to you, but also to your
to
brother.
him? She didn't consider him. She didn't give a fuck. I'm like, you're
She was
such a
like, "Oh no, I'm
well.
I'm going to work.
Here's the thing. I
Someone's
tell her
out."
you're a terrible mother straight to her face with my finger pointed at her, and she's like, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. Like no emotion, nothing.
Nothing.
And I was like, holy shit. Like
Like the people that I surround myself with, if you were to, say that to them, they'd like completely just, either shut down or like
or they
really
lose
take a
it.
step back.
Or,
Yeah,
or they
or lose it.
fucking get bad at least. There's no emotion. It's like, no, I'm
Exactly.
not. It's like, yeah, you are. If this is what you're doing, if this is how you parent.
That's
And I
so
walk out the
fucked up,
door.
man.
I'm like, you need to find someone to watch your fucking son, or you call off work and watch your fucking son. Like, holy shit.
That's so fucked.
Yeah. And that's not even the worst thing
Yeah,
she's ever
yeah,
done.
and
That's not even
I
close. But that's just
I
like
know.
one thing.
I
Like
know,
I
but
tell her to her face. Her son is telling her to her face, "You're a terrible mother," and there's just no
and
reaction. Nothing.
nothing.
Nothing
Yeah.
going on here. Because as soon as she hears that, she probably just disassociates. It's like, no, I'm not.
No, it's not. He's just overreacting. Blah blah blah. It's like, no, take a step back and look at what you're doing to your family.
Yeah, no, that was never an option with her. It was just that's a lot of parents today are like that.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like so grateful for parents that like actually give a fucking damn. You know, like when I've talked to
Like,
your dad's cool, bro.
mm-hmm.
Your dad's cool.
Yeah,
I haven't spoken to my mother
there.
in years, and your dad is gonna come down to like Columbus and spend time with you, or he invites you over to Cincinnati because he wants to see you. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't get that. Like, your dad is a good ass fucking dude.
Yeah. I'm really thankful for my family because I don't think I'd be where I am now. I mean, how I probably wouldn't even be living where I am now if it weren't for my sisters.
Yeah, and you never like the reason like we can relate and get along is because you like are grateful for these things. You never take it for granted. And
Mm-mm.
that's why we can get along. You don't take shit for granted. You're like, oh, this is really cool, and I'm lucky to have this. If people
Yeah.
were more grateful, then like I feel like everyone treats everyone else so much better. And I get pissed off about like stupid shit as well. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I just encounter it so often on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
in real life, and it's like, holy fuck. Like you really don't know how nasty people can be. And it's only because again, they're lashing out, they don't have any other outlet because they don't know how to work through their emotions properly. Their parents probably never taught them.
Mm-hmm. And they probably don't know how to interact with normal people in a normal way to express those like feelings of anger and like aggression
Yeah, to
in a healthy
communicate.
manner. So the first thing that they do is just immediately lash out on whoever like, you know, puts that final straw on the hay bale.
Yeah, it's like the bottle is almost always full, and you add one drop, and then it starts overflowing, and they're like,
It just yeah. It like
like
explodes.
they don't know how to communicate their emotions. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not a fucking therapist, right?
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah,
college
no,
fucking
I'm
dropout. Like I can't. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert in these things, but I see it every day. I've experienced it by doing it myself, and I realize there's issues
mhm.
by looking inward. And people don't do that. People need to take a step back, be like, okay, like I really need to work through my shit. No one wants to improve
Yeah.
themselves, and that's what sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like with years and years of living, you should be better as a person. You should always be better because you're working towards being better. You see a lot of old people who are just
Theoretically,
not. They're
yeah.
just exactly the same as they were, and probably just more bitter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, I worked at a nursing home for 7 years. I saw so much, like, well, I saw so much, period, but I saw so much like bitterness from these elderly folk that was directed towards like me and like the
Hold on.
staff.
Hold on 1 second. So you experience this bitterness
Um,
from old people, the elderly,
yes,
towards you and the staff.
so like because like we were like it would it'd be weird because there would be polar opposites between different people. Like some groups of the residents were very like just overly extremely kind towards us and very thoughtful and very like gracious towards us. And then there was the other side that was like, you're a fucking bitch for working at this restaurant. And you're like, damn, I'm just trying to serve you, dude.
It's like, you eat,
Like I'm trying
you
to
eat
make
here.
your day.
You eat here, bro.
Exactly, and it was like,
It's like, at least I'm getting paid to be
like
here.
just seeing that, yeah, and like just seeing that like vast
The
like
contrast.
there was yeah, there was definitely a vast contrast, but like the anger that some of these people held on to because of like what they had gone through in their however many years they've been here, and then they're putting all of that anger on every single person that they interact with because they're unhappy about their own life.
Yeah.
Or they're unhappy about where they went in their life, and now they're retired, and now they're in a nursing home, and now they know that, there's nothing after this.
Yeah, and like, yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and on a pedestal. I go to my job and I'm pissed off too. I get angry and too.
Yeah.
But I'm never like taking it out on everyone. I'm just like, fucking hate this job. But
Mm-hmm.
like, someone interacts with me, like I'll give them like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. I'll give them like the smallest bit of energy I can. But I'm never like, well, maybe you should just do better, huh? He's like, hey, can you do this thing for me? He's like, why don't you do it yourself, huh? It's like, no.
Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth
Have some
getting rid of that energy in your day.
have some self control.
Exactly. And a lot of these people we're talking about just don't. They just, it's the lack of self-awareness that and I don't even know if I don't think we even touched on the consequences. Like people who don't like have no notion of what consequences are, so they think anything that they do is gonna, like, they're gonna be okay, someone else will deal with it.
Yeah, they think they're fucking invincible.
They untouchable.
Yeah,
They're like, oh well,
you see these
daddy will fix it, mommy will fix it. Like, no, that's not how life works. You're not gonna get a job, or you're not gonna interview for a job, get rejected, and then be like, mom, go talk to them, give me the job. It's like, that's not how
the world works. That's how life
no.
works. And like, you see all these people who think they're invincible and they'll do these outrageous things. Outrageous. I saw like a video about this like Kick streamer who, like, I don't know.
Kick streamer.
Yeah, like Kick is a streaming website, kind of like Twitch.
Oh,
They're doing his IRL stream, and they were starting the street beef with this random dude. He's at dinner, and like, I guess they like talk some shit back and forth, whatever. But like, dude's like at dinner, and he approaches him on the street and tries to throw some punches. Get absolutely fucking destroyed. Like, this guy clearly had no idea how to even throw a punch, and this other guy was like, he's de-escalating the situation, grabbing him, getting like him in a wrestling, chokehold or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
you clearly have no idea what you're doing. Why do you think that you're this tough guy if you've had no proper training, if you don't know anything? You think you're invincible. You think you can do whatever you want. And people are going to find out real quick that they can't. Like, there's going to be so many young people who try to get attention by, because they don't have the validation, the external validation. And they're going to lash out, and they're going to do anything for attention. And they're going to do something to the wrong motherfucker.
Yeah.
and they're gonna get their ass beat, and people could shoot them, like that fucking prankster that we talked about
Yeah,
in previous
yeah.
podcasts. He's lashing out because no one's paying attention to him, so he's trying to do these outrageous things and bother people. He got fucking shot.
And then he gets shot.
Like
And what happened? What did he do afterwards, Ryan?
he was
What
joking
did, what did he
about
say?
it.
What did he say to the camera?
He was like, "Oh, this is so much. This is so good for my career because I'm getting so much attention." Crazy. Like you're so much in
You're
pain and like
and your
hurting.
ego is so big that you think that this is great that it's happening.
They don't understand the point of life.
No.
They want to do this stuff. They want to get rich. Ow. I had my hand on the desk. They want to do this stuff. They want to get rich. They want to like live this materialistic life because again, if parents are putting iPads in front of people and I'm getting raised online, everyone's getting raised by people online and they see all these people fucking flexing their money and shit like that. And they think that's how life's supposed to be. They think you've made it if you do that. But so many rich people, successful people are so unhappy. They
Mm-hmm.
don't get the point of life. And so what happens too is like it causes like mental illness, it causes depression because you think, "Oh, I need to have this lavish life.
Yeah.
And if I don't have it, then I'm a failure and my life is not where it needs to be." There's this cognitive dissonance from where your life is now and from where you think it should be. And so it
Mm-hmm.
just causes so much sadness, so much bitterness, so much anger. That's not the point of life. You want to be
Mm-mm.
great. You want to be successful. You want to be a decent human being. You want to succeed at life. You need to be a good person. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you really do, and it's just, it's sad to see these individuals who just they like a lot of times it's because of how they were raised. It's how their parents raised them that now they're 18, 19, 20, and they think that you know every like no action that they do themselves is going to have a negative impact on themselves.
Yeah.
It's just going to work itself out, and I'll get what I want eventually.
Yeah. Like prime
It's like
example,
that's
your parents love you, I presume. They loved you growing up,
yeah.
but they weren't
Yeah.
like, "Oh, my baby. Oh, my baby Eli. Oh, I'm going to do everything for you. You ever need something paid? Just tell me. I'll pay for everything." Like, no.
Yeah, no.
No, but your parents
They
loved you
they
and,
they taught me
taught you the right
the
morals, taught you responsibility, and you turned out
exactly.
a good human being. Crazy. You raise your kids
Crazy how
with
that
some you
works.
raise your kids with some love and respect and responsibility, and all of a sudden they're loving, respecting, responsible humans. Crazy.
It's crazy how life works, I guess.
Yeah, and with your kids, with anyone, like you get in what you put out.
You really do. You
Especially
really
with your
do.
kids. You put in that love, that respect, that responsibility. Like you'll get that out of them. Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of people who don't want to see their parents when they grow up, when they move out. They
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go. They don't want to go anywhere near them. And it's
No.
like if your kid doesn't want to spend time with you when they're an adult, that says something, bro. That says
Yeah.
something. Because like my grandparents were like really the main parental figures in my life. Because they
Mm-hmm.
taught me so much, and I wouldn't be here without them.
True. True.
Like my mother didn't know what she was doing when
Yeah.
when I was born, and like I have a freaking, I don't know if it's like very visible now, but I got a burn on my hand when I was a baby because I'm literal fucking baby like this big, and I'm in my seat. She gets me some hot food. She sets it in front of me. She's like, "Don't touch it. It's hot. I'm a baby. I'm hungry." Burn on my hand.
Why would you ever put a hot plate in front of a baby?
Don't know. My great grandma laid into her. Oh, I wish I was
I'm
conscious enough to remember that, but it was just like it's so weird. And like, my first memory ever
mm-hmm.
was me succeeding at potty training. That was my first memory ever. I remember I was so excited as a kid. I used the bathroom by myself with no one else's help. that was a big step for me. My first memory ever. And then after I was done, wash my hands, I run out. My mom's in the kitchen. I'm like, Mom, I just used the potty by myself. She's like, okay. No emotion, nothing. Any responsible. If I told that to my grandma, she'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, woohoo! Ryan's using the bathroom by himself. Let's go. Like,
Yeah.
bruh, I
Any sensible human being with feelings would count that as a win and celebrate with you.
yeah, it's
But for
crazy.
her to just be like, okay, like,
Did
I'm
not
sorry,
give a
man.
fuck. Like that,
Yeah.
so I hope people can learn, you know,
Yeah.
because again, I don't want to spend time with my mother. But guess what? I was late to this because I was spending time with my grandparents.
Yeah.
I was at their house.
Which is worth it because they're people who actually care.
There are people who actually care. I could have like,
And they've been there for you.
they've always been there for me.
Always. Never like like we all have people who have been there for a period and then they stepped away or weren't a part of our lives for the longest time and then came back and then tried to act like everything was okay.
Yeah,
you know and it's just
but like,
it's
but they're consistent.
yeah.
They've always been there, and they've done so much stuff. Like when you have the people in your life that do so much stuff with you, for you, experience things, alongside you, treat you with respect. They don't have to do
Yeah.
that. No one has to treat you with respect. Absolutely no one. You're not entitled to that. So when
Yeah.
you find those
you
people,
earn respect.
you earn respect. So when you find those people, then it's like, okay, I'm very grateful. You have to be grateful because you're not going to have this forever.
Mm-hmm. You're not. And if you don't like show those people that you are grateful for them or like let them know that you really care about what they're doing for you, some people just walk away because they're like I'm not getting like rewarded for like being there for you, or I'm not getting in, back to what we were talking about, I think last episode, about how like, uh, fucking hell. God damn it.
Sorry, it's just, that came out of nowhere for me. I mean, if you're just ungrateful, I've seen ungrateful people grow up and then, but like, I have a solid,
Yeah.
good relationship with my grandparents. Like, again, like there's ups and downs, right? Between this generational gap. But
Mm-hmm.
there comes a level of respect and love that you don't get if you're not grateful, if you don't let them know how much you're thankful for every single one of their actions.
Mm-hmm.
They think it wasn't,
Yeah.
eventually they'll think it wasn't worth it if you don't show that gratitude.
Yeah. I do remember what I was gonna segue into, but
Good, good.
Relating these these interactions of being like grateful towards others, it leads into those people, it leads into chasers, people who want to be chased, and if you're not giving them enough attention, they're gonna put just a little bit out there so that you grab a hold of them again, and then they're gonna step back and wait for you to chase after them, because and then eventually, once you stop giving them that attention, they're just gonna leave and find someone else to do it.
Yeah.
Because that's how they've always been.
Wow. Great point. Great segue, go. There you go. It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait.
I got there eventually.
So like,
it doesn't always happen.
So I guess to like elaborate that a little more, it's like,
Yeah.
so you think it's parents that like when their kids grow up, the kids should like come over and be like, hey, like, respect you. I took care of you. You take care of me now. And if they don't, then like the parents are like, okay, I guess I'm done. Guess I'm just done. They don't care about anything I've done for them. Or is it the kids that are like ungrateful?
I mean, I think both points are very valid, because there are kids who grew up with everything, and then once they move out of the house, they don't get that same treatment from their parents. So then either they disconnect or their parents disconnect, because their parents no longer are like forced into like taking care of this kid, or like, mini adult.
Yeah.
And but then, on the other side, it's these kids who grew up with parents who didn't show them, what gratitude meant, didn't show them what respect meant. They grow up to be people who disrespect others, who don't give a shit about other people's feelings. They go into like relationships, and they could find themselves in a very abusive one.
They probably like lash out to like get their parents' attention, to get anyone's attention, because that's probably the only way they ever got attention as a kid, by doing these big
by lashing out, by being loud,
yeah,
by screaming, so then when they grow up, that's the only thing that has been ingrained in their mind thus far.
And that's the only thing that ever got them attention, so they keep doing it.
Because they don't know how to get it otherwise, because
they
think they're
constantly chasing for that validation and attention that they never got with their parents.
Exactly. And like, it was just so ingrained in their brain that this is how I get people to like me. This is how I get people to talk to me. And they grow older and they're fucking shit out of luck. Because that's not how
the world works.
That's not how human interaction works. Yeah. That's not how relationships work. That's not how friendships work.
And everyone will leave you at that point. Everyone, including the parents that caused you to be that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So. And like, sometimes it's the parents seeing their former selves in their kids.
Yeah. Or like the parents and or kids that treat the relationship like an obligation.
Mm-hmm.
Like the parents that are like, as soon as you move 18, I'm kicking you. Get out.
Yeah.
And I think it also deals with some kids like not being grateful. There are a lot of those kids that are like shitty, especially because of the internet now and TikTok. You can definitely get those shitty ones like, okay, fine, get out at 18. You really think you're invincible? Yeah. You really think you're all that? Go out into the world. I totally get that. But the ones that have a kid clearly don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just don't give a shit. And then it's like 18's like, okay, get out. I don't like you. I don't love you. That hurts a lot of people. I think a lot of people who lash out like that are just, they're so unhappy. They're so unhappy. I told you about this.
They're in so much pain.
I was on Overwatch the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy who claims to make over 100K a year, who's handsome, who's tall, he's so happy. And like, bro, it all stems from him like spamming needing healed. I was on my way back from spawn. The other healer was like healing the tank. So like, I jokingly says like, hey man, why don't you press heal again? Why don't you press that you need healing again? That would really drive the point home. Sarcastic, just like, poking fun at him spamming it.
Yeah.
And he's like, why do you have a fucking smart ass comment for everything? Blah, 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 blah. And he like gets in this argument with him. He's like, what the fuck? Why are you so bent out of shame? He's like, you're the one that's angry. He's like, oh yeah, I'm really angry. You're right. And it's just like, dude, how unhappy with your life do you have to be to like lash out like this and be this on edge and angry? And he's like, I'm very happy with my life. I make 100K. I'm tall. I'm handsome. I think I'm very happy with my life. It's like, yeah, you sound happy, man. That's what I told him. I was
also,
like, I said, you really sound happy.
I feel like any person who has to state that they're tall, they make a lot of money, and that they're good looking,
they're unhappy. And that's what we talked about earlier, this materialistic mindset where it's like all these things that you think should make you happy, they don't. Yeah. In real happiness, we'll end it here. But the real happiness in your life comes from self-love. It comes from loving yourself, accepting yourself as you are, and always wanting to constantly improve yourself. If you really love yourself, then you'll always want yourself to be a better version. And in a good way, positive way. You gotta accept yourself. You gotta love yourself. Otherwise, you're never going to be happy. Any external validation that you get is never going to be enough to fill that hole in your heart.
Great ending point, Ryan.
Yeah, you like that?
Good stuff. Good stuff.
And I'm not, again, I'm not on a pedestal, but like, this is just stuff I've learned over time in my life. I'm still young. I still have so much to learn. I'm not even on the tip of the iceberg. I'm a depressed fuck. You know? But I know these things are the journey to be happy for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you got to go through life experiences to, one, no pun intended, gain experience, but also two, like, grow. Like, to be a better person, you have to go through hard shit. Yeah. If you're spoiled your entire life, you're never going to learn anything.
Yeah, and mistakes.
Because you're never going to have to go through a struggle.
And mistakes and struggles are really what teach you everything.
Yes. Yes.
If everything's handled for you, you never learn anything. You never learn how to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I think problem-solving skills are a very underrated thing, for sure.
True. I agree.
But, bro, this has been a good episode.
God damn, yeah.
It's been good. We've been venting about our shit.
Yeah, it's been pretty fluid. But
you want to?
I guess I'll close this out. Yeah. Without further ado, if you've made it this far in the episode, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. We love you. And go check out allmylinks.com/TNCPOD for all things TNC podcast. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.
Peace.